Bixby Knolls Business Improvement Association. I want to make sure I get that right because I think it's really important. But I just want to start off with I'm Michele Kreinheder. I'm a real estate agent with Compass Real Estate in Long Beach. And if you're watching this on YouTube, if you could do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button, I would totally appreciate that. I just want to let you know that in the coming weeks, I will have somebody on who's an expert in ADUs. And in fact, she's having a conference with all people, contractors, different people. And I'm going to put that in the link. It's April 29th at Huntington Beach. So I know there's a lot of people out there who have questions about ADUs, actually me included. So I just wanted to throw that out there before we start with my guest here. And so Blair, I'm just going to let you sort of take it away and explain why it is the Bixby Knolls Business Improvement Association and the history and all that good stuff. So much, I know there's so much to this organization you've done, but yeah.
Okay, well, gosh, let's give you a little history of the organization really quick. So in 1989, the merchants wanted to organize themselves so there would be some kind of center, pardon me, for being able to talk, share issues with businesses, dealing with the city, anything like that. So there was an unofficial Bixby Knolls Business Association.
Unofficial, and I just want to set it up from a little bit of my history, and maybe it will be helpful for them. I moved here in 88, 89, and my daughter started taking classes at the ballet studio on Wardlow. And so I would drive around in Cal Heights, and beautiful Spanish up there, but it's the Atlantic Avenue corridor.
Atlantic and Long Beach Boulevard.
Atlantic and Long Beach Boulevard. Yeah. And I mean, and at the time, there was not too many thriving businesses on that corridor. And I think, although the neighborhood was beautiful, it was just like, oh, I'm not really sure. So I think, right. So in 89, just want to, set the stage for everybody. So
yeah, and I'm glad you did that. That's good, because there was Bixby Knolls had its heyday and, decades before. And pardon me, it was really when the Lakewood Mall opened, that shopping patterns changed. Okay. So folks went to the malls and it was all inclusive. That everything there, rather than parking on it or on a corridor, similar to like Wilshire Boulevard was the model for Bixby Knolls when it was first established. But then patterns changed. People went to the malls and it changed. And then the first generation of business owners started to retire and move away. So you saw a decline in kind of a real quiet, sleepy district for a number of years. So the Business Association was started, and then it became official. And I mean that it went through the process through the city and then governed by the state, and how you become a business improvement district. The city manages it, but it's actually state law. Okay. And that was formed and blessed in 92. Late 92, early 93. And that was partly in response to April of 92 when there was the Rodney King riots. And then it again changed what the corridor was looking like. Bixby Knolls was not affected per se, North Long Beach more so. But the merchants said, we need to have an organization to address our issues and work on clean and safe and facade improvements and things like that. So
can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Oh, I don't know where they're. I am getting a little bit feedback.
Oh, it's usually over here, I think.
Okay. So it's overrun then by the state somewhat. Yes.
It's a traffic. It's the state roads and traffic laws, but then managed by the city. The city then has a department. We go through economic development. Manages all the contracts with all the business districts. And if you're merchant based like we are, we get renewed every year. So we go back in front of city council, they review our annual report, and they'll say, oh, it looks like they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. We bless them for another year. Now, if they don't, that's because we haven't done anything or enough or what we should be doing based on the criteria of the laws through the state. And if you're a property based, you get renewed every 5 years or so, and it's 5 to 10 years, and you have to show value to the property owners and to those that are paying and being assessed. So it's tricky, but like any organization, you've got criteria that you have to follow to make sure you are doing what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
So that's the story as far as the formation.
Okay.
And from, let's say, 92, I want to say all the way up until when I came, um, the district was small and quiet, but it was on its mission of engaging the membership and doing events and promotions and keeping it clean. It's just that when I got here, I had a relationship with City Hall from doing things as an event manager, event promoter. I was one of the founders of the Long Beach Marathon through International City Racing. So I learned about the relationships with police and fire and public works and water department and how it worked politically, how you get the council to help. So I also looked at what the association was doing up to that point, which was really focusing on putting big events in the streets. And I said, well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Yeah, you draw people. The fallacy was, well, we bring so many people here. And I said, yes, you do on that Sunday from noon to 4 or 10 to 2, whatever it was. Then what happens after that? And I went and asked some of the businesses, I said, can I see your register tapes for the dates you're doing at the street fair or the snow event or even the car show? It all looked good. It was fun. But what happens the next day and the day after that? And so I had told the board, for the most part, we're not going to do what you've been doing for years. We're going to start over. And we started creating programs and events that engage the community. And everything we did was a social component, but it was all focused back to a business. So, for instance, the first thing was, in being a sleepy bedroom community, I said, well, we got to get people out. We have to get them back out because, in my first 60 days on the job, I went around and talked to people. And one business owner said, a woman walked in here and said, how long have you been here? And I said, well, 3 years. And they lived a block away and they just were not connected. So we started a walking club, which was unusual because people were like, well, what does that have to do with the business district? I said, it will. Everything we're doing is long term, not the 1 hour, the few hours for that day. And why do we do it? Because we got people together and we walked them up and down the business corridors. We told them about what was coming, what you had here. We showed up in the neighborhood. They met each other. And then at the Long Beach Petroleum Club at the time, we started to organize community dances, believe it or not, like themed parties. We had a couple of 80s parties that were great because people wanted a place to go. This is before the wine bars were here and before the breweries. Then we needed a place. So we used the Petroleum Club as the center for the social part of it. We had our business owners next to our community members. And then we did community happy hours and started a book club, a supper club, a good spirits club. We have our Nights of the Round Turntable, which is our music group. We do our once a month kids bike ride called Critical Mass. And then, of course, First Fridays was in existence before I came. And we jumped on that to grow it, make that the economic driver for the district.
Wow.
So
I was not aware.
Oh, yeah. So the point is that we did 5 or 6 things a month rather than one event every 6 months. You see what I mean? So people had a reason. We threw it all out there. And by doing that, then we saw the whole community. We could stitch it all together. Some wanted to come to read only, some ate, and some came to the drinking club only, some came to First Fridays. But we got to see who was here, and then we started to change the programming. Then we created our concerts in the parking lot, in our flash events and our cash mobs, whatever we could, just to help the businesses, because all of those things I mentioned take place at a specific location. So a restaurant would host supper club and would help them that night and move on to the next one, the next month, and so on. And by doing so, then we had people engaged, and then we built our social media and our email lists and just whatever we could to get the message out. And we would tell them everything. We would brag about, isn't it wonderful that the city just gave us 33 new trash cans on the street, and we got new bike racks. Isn't that beautiful? And next weekend we're going to do a tree planting event. We need volunteers to come out. And that was very telling. By the way, that was the first thing we ever did. Was I was told, well, on the schedule, you've got to plant new trees. I had no idea. Like, well, how are we going to pay for this? But I went to Public Works. I said, look, if you will cut the concrete, we'll get the volunteers to do all the labor. So it was perfect timing because Leadership Long Beach was looking for a community project.
Mm.
So they came, they organized to plant the trees. We got Public Works as a partner to cut the concrete, make the tree walls for us. And we said, well, all right, well, we need about 100 volunteers. It'll take us from like 9 to 12. But when we put it out there, 300 people showed up. And we didn't have enough for them to do. The trees were planted in 30, 40 minutes. And there was 42 of them to do. Like, we knocked it out quick. But then we said, here's a trash bag. Go pick up trash. And you go that direction, pick up trash. And it was, again, it was an indication to me that the neighborhood wanted a place to go, like we used the club. They wanted something to do to invest in the community.
Yeah.
So they were out planning and cleaning, and it took off from there. We just did being consistent. That was critical. We had to keep doing it month after month and week after week to get the buy-in. And then came the growth of First Fridays, and then the trolley came, and then once the breweries came, we did the beer tours. We tried just about,
everything.
Yeah.
I'm getting really. Do I sound clear to you?
Yeah, totally clear.
Okay, I don't know. It's something on my end. I just want to. I don't think you're tooting your horn enough, so I'm going to do it for you. So back to like what that corridor looked like in '89 to today, what that corridor looks like, what the neighborhood that I feel you sense it, the change in the neighborhood, sell real estate, young families,
Yes.
young people, everybody. It doesn't really, it doesn't have to be family. People love it up there. The prices, like everywhere, have skyrocketed. But yeah, it's just it's a truly wanted area. And when we talked yesterday, I said to Blair, I said, do you get people that call you from other areas and be like, how did you do that? Because really just what a success story. Round of applause.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're working on it all the time. Like, it's a good team effort here, and that's the other piece, that in the first 60 days of the job, I was like, where's everybody? Who's doing what? And there's little energy pockets around. I said, well, we just need to connect them and bring them all to us. And even the Rancho was not in the district. It was like, well, we have a beautiful asset in the neighborhood, and we have to get them involved with us, and the Shakespeare Company and Historical Society. I mean, people said, oh, well, Bixby Knolls, doesn't have this or that or this and that. I said, well, don't tell us what we don't have. I mean, we can tell us what we do have, and let's build it from there.
You did a good job.
Well, the neighborhood has changed.
And I also, this expo center, I've been to it. I feel like it was for a political meeting. It's years ago. But tell me all about that, because I know a lot of people utilize that.
Yeah, so I mentioned that people wanted a place. Well, there wasn't a community center per se, but our office was actually next door to this big furniture store. And at the time I was here, it was still operating as Expo Furniture. They were delivering trucks out the back. Furniture was coming and going. There's the massive showroom in the main room was just all furniture. But the operators closed it down, and it was an opportunity for the redevelopment agency that was here at the time, who was out buying a property or trying to do this and help districts out. They came in, and there was 2 or 3 family trusts involved. It's very complicated, but the city was able to go through and break the trust by paying the families and paying back the Expo organization what was either owed to them or what they owed to the trust. So redevelopment agency purchased the building. Now, the first idea was, okay, we're going to knock down 2/3 of it, put a white picket fence around it. One day, somebody's going to want to come and develop the land. And on the other third, we're going to put a parking lot. And we said, no, time out. No way. In a previous life of mine, I would book shows with bands in venues all over the place, and had been to shows like in the LA Underground. It could have been an abandoned warehouse. It could have been an old building, whatever. And all it took was somebody to organize something, so take it under. I said, look, you've got the structure here. Why would you knock it down? We're next door. Let the BIA manage it. Well, we got the councilwoman, Councilwoman Gablich at the time. She was kind of sold on it. We had to go to the city manager, who had to then tell the redevelopment agency, don't knock it down. So at the time, we said, we're going to put on a show. It was like Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland. We're going to put on a show. And we had Helen Borges, who was the director of the Shakespeare Company, was also on K-Jazz Radio. She got the bands. We reached out to every artist we knew to put artwork around the building. We had 500 people show up. We had and the city said that's enough. They wouldn't let anybody else in. I mean, it was packed, and it was such a success. I said, "See, neighborhood needs something, so let us manage it." And slowly but surely, the city started to invest more in redevelopment, and then when the redevelopment agency was dismantled, it was transferred. Now it's a city asset, so it was saved. And long story short, we have multiple tenants in here, and it's used all the time. And it's everything from kids to seniors and everything in between.
Like art shows, music shows,
everything. Nonprofits do anything. There'll be candidate forums, and there were budget meetings here, and there was community meetings of all types. But it's become the center for the Black History Month celebration every year. And we've had everything in here, every type of use, and it's great. It's been
awesome.
Yeah, it's great to have it.
Okay. Let's see what I had here. I wanted to, well, we talked about, I think, like you said, I think that First Fridays is sort of maybe the one you're most known for, but you have all those other, little things going on. Last week I went to your website, and I said to him, when we talked yesterday, I'm like, you update your website a lot, huh? So I guess you do, because you always have something going on, don't you?
Yeah, we always try to keep it current, and we have to go through with a fine tooth comb because there are so many things to keep updated. But if you want to talk First Friday specifically, it's before I took the job, and a buddy of mine was up here. He says, "Did you know they have this artwork up in Bixby Knolls, and they get about 800 people to it?" I said, "What?" I said, "Up there, since it doesn't happen on Belmont Shore downtown, but they're doing something." I mean, I was really shocked because, like, well, I think that's great. I mean, again, a quiet part of town that kind of looked straight out of Mad Men a little bit, little mid-century modern architecture. So when I got here and asked about it, yes, the businesses, well, it started in a business, and then business next door, and then it went down the street, and there was 6 to 8 different places that would be open on a First Friday, hosting an artist. And but you'd have to walk through like a dark part of the street to get to the next one and get to the next one. So I said, well, this is great. Let's let the business owners run their business and let the BIA take the event and kind of grow out and manage it, make it the marquee. And we opened our office as a place. And when we were doing it at the time, if we got 25 people to come through the office, it was a success. We always stand out in front, look way down the street. Oh, there's a couple people walking. Maybe they'll come. And we just had to come up with tricks to get people out and make it different every time. And then we would say, come on, restaurants, you got to do something. And we'd go to every business and said, no, you have to participate. And we would throw them a DJ. We would say, here's an artist for you to focus on. And then we just did bells and whistles. We would start to say, okay, we hired a still walker who was dressed as David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust character. And we said, what we want you to do is to go to every restaurant and just duck under the door, get in there and straddle the table, walk over everybody eating, just to cause a stir, just to make a disturbance. Like, I was eating and David Bowie walked in and walked out. So that way people started to talk about it. And then we started to theme it. And then we brought in more music to connect the dark spots so people would walk. And so it's just grown. And then we went to the redevelopment agency and said, look, it's not just an event. This is a very important economic driver for the district. And, the money you're going to give us is in part will go to growing this because it's getting the neighbors out. It's supporting the businesses. The shops are staying open later. The restaurants are full. And it's grown into the marquee event or signature event for the district.
Yeah. Were there any upcoming events you want to let people know about, or?
Yeah, so yes, we're kind of tiptoeing back into a normal sense. We just had one, we called it Almost St. Patrick's Day. It was done on the Sunday prior to, and it was really having the big red bus come and take people to all the breweries and restaurants, and they were themed out. They had specials. We'll do that again. Our beer bus will start coming once a month. We do our monthly Nights of the Round Turntable. So that's going to be held on April 28th at the Pam.
What is that?
Well, what we do is we take a great album of, let's say, Rolling Stones top 100, top 500 albums, and we talk about it. So people come and they eat, but then we have the moderator will talk about like Purple Rain by Prince, or it's been Rumors by Fleetwood Mac, and we talk about the band, the recording, and then song by song, and it's kind of a great night of music. We turn it up loud. And people are celebrating the music and the artists. We just did Joni Mitchell's Blue album last month. This month is going to be Moving Pictures by Rush. And so we jump around from genre to artists, and people love it. Yeah, it's become very, very popular.
I think what I'm hearing is that, Blair, you were just the right person, the right place, the right time.
I think it worked out. It was just a blank canvas, and we knew that there was focus happening elsewhere in the city, and we said, well, this is great. So we get to try and do whatever we want to do and see what sticks. And here's the thing, 14 years later, people are still walking every Saturday, and 166 books later, the Literary Society is still meeting, and we're at 28 albums now, 28 albums with Nights of the Round Turntable, and it's going to be consistent and just catering to the tastes of the neighborhood and doing something that people like, but making sure that everything we do supports our business members.
Your business. Yeah, that's why I said it was important to say the name of your association. You're not the Bixby Knolls Neighborhood Association.
No.
That never was it. It always was, you had that vision that it's, people and businesses together, and,
Correct.
Yeah, it really did help. I'm trying to think what else I want to ask you. You have a fantastic website, so I suggest everybody go and check it out. I checked out your board. You've got a nice, robust board of people across the community. It's really nice to see. And so check them out. And if you haven't checked out First Fridays or one of their events or been on that Big Red Bus, highly recommend that Big Red Bus.
Please, everybody's welcome, and it's a guaranteed good time.
Yeah. All right, Blair. We had never met each other. We've never had a conversation. It was lovely to get to know you, and I'm sure we'll see each other around. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.